uh, we need to execute a set of statements or a block in a repeated manner. So what we will do in that case? Actually, then the concept of loop comes, and these are also known as iterative statements. Suppose we want to print India 10 times. So there are two ways. First of First way is that we need to print 10 times India like this, or we simply write the statement once, or we just keep that statement within the body of the loop. This is the way. So children, on the screen you can see there is a for loop, and here it is printing India 10 times. Now I would like to tell you the parts of the loop here which are very important. Here this loop is having three parts. The first part is this one, which is initialization, and this one is the condition, and this one is the iteration or updation. So children, if you see the syntax of the loop, you can see that here it is for int, this is what initialization, and here after that condition will come, and iteration or updation will come, and within the loop body the block will come. So this is initialization, this is condition, and this is iteration. So if I write the example of that, so here you will see that this part belongs to initialization, this part belongs to condition, and this part belongs to iteration. And the best thing is that it will go till this given condition is true. So the loop will go till this given condition is true, and whenever this condition becomes false, the loop will terminate. And what the loop does, basically it executes the block which it contains. So here I hope you all know what is a block. A block is a group of 0 or more statements within balanced braces. So this is actually these opening, and whatever we keep within this opening and closing brace makes or constructs a block. So this is what the syntax of the loop, and now we will see some more examples of the loop. Children, suppose here we want to print first 10 natural numbers. So this is the initialization, and this will go up to 10 and I plus plus, and within this we want just to print I. So actually what happens, initial value of I is 1, or we can say this is the starting point. So I is 1, and first time when actually again I want to repeat one thing, that there is a control which comes from top to bottom and which execute all the statements. So when control reaches here, the very first step is to execute this initialization part, and at the same time this condition is checked during the initialization only. During the initialization, if control realizes that this condition is false, then this block will be ignored. This will not execute. So here I want to just show you I have written this message, and if the condition, suppose if I is less than 0, now you see that nothing will get printed on the screen except the message done, because here what happened, the condition was false. When I became 1, immediately this condition is checked, and this 1 is not less than 0. It means this condition is false. So if it is false, then this statement which is inside the block of the loop will not get execute, which is inside the body of the loop, we can say, will not execute. And immediately after checking this and after realizing if it is false, it will immediately jump on this statement. So these statements which are kept within the body of the loop will be ignored. In the second case, what happens? Suppose this condition is still I is less than or equals to 10. So what will happen? The control will move inside this body because this condition is true. So till this condition is true, the control will keep on executing, and first time what happens, I becomes 1, this condition is checked, and next time what happens, I gets incremented by 1, and then this condition is checked. Again I gets incremented by 1, and then this condition is checked. So initially I is 1, condition is checked, then I becomes 2, condition is checked, I becomes 3, condition is checked. In a similar way, all the values will be checked. I becomes 10 finally, and then condition is checked. And when I becomes 11, this condition becomes false because I is not less than or equals to 10 in this case, and then it will terminate, and finally the control reaches this place, printing the message done. Okay, so let us see some more examples of this. Children, suppose we want to print all the even numbers from 1 to 100. In that case, we need to start this loop from 2, and every time we want to increment the value of I by 2 this time. So what happens, initially it is 2, then it becomes 4, then it becomes 6, like that. And here it will terminate only when the value of I becomes 102. And suppose we want to print all the odd numbers, we need to start this loop from 1. So in this case you can see that a list of odd numbers has come on the screen. And suppose you want to print all the multiples of 5 up to given value. So what you need to do, you need to increment this value of I by 5 every time. Now you see that here the multiples of 5 have come. Children, suppose you want to run the loop in reverse order, so you need to change this condition here. This time it will go up to 1, and here this is I minus minus. So initially it starts printing from 100 and it goes up to 1. This is how. And always remember that this loop will execute till this given condition is true, and whenever this given condition becomes false, the loop will terminate. Children, suppose we want to calculate the sum of all the values from 1 to 100. In that case, what we need to just uh, declare a variable sum, and then what we need to do is just to start a loop that will go from 1 to 100, and here we need to just sum plus I within the body of the loop, and after that we need to just print the sum, which is total is the sum. So let's execute this part, which is 5050 on the screen. So it is how the sum is coming. Children, one thing with the for loop is that here you cannot put comma. Here semicolon and one more semicolon will come. So this is the part of the syntax. And if we talk about loops, the loops are of two types. So first type is entry control loop, and the second type of loop is which is exit control loop. So in entry control loop we have two types of loops further, one is for and another is while, and in exit control loop we have do while. So just now we will see only for loop, and I will explain why it is known as entry control loop. Children, for loop is known as entry control loop because here the condition is checked before the control enters the body of the loop. Here it is, this is the for loop, and as I told you earlier that there is a control which is flowing from top to bottom, and when control reaches here, after initializing this value, this I by 1, this condition is checked. So condition is checked before the entry of the control within its body. The control will not move inside the body till it has not checked, until it has not checked this condition. And if this given condition is true, then only control will move inside the body. Otherwise, it will immediately jump after this loop body if this condition is false. If this condition is false, then the control immediately jumps here and it ignores this body. This is entry control loop. So children, suppose we want to calculate the sum of all the even numbers from 1 to 100. So in that case, what we need to just have a variable sum, and we want to just declare this, we want to just specify this condition up to 100, and less than, here we need to write I is equals to I plus 2, and within this body we need to just write sum is equals to sum plus I, and after that the sum is this. Just go through, you see that here this time the sum is 2500. And there is one more way of checking and calculating the sum of even number. Here if we specify the condition that if I is divisible by 2, so simply we can use this modulus operator in order to check for even number. Again you will see that the output is 2550. Children, one more example we want to see that. Suppose we have a variable num and we want to just print the table of any number. So in that case, we need to enter the number, which is enter number, and which is num is ss.nextInt. And suppose we want to generate the table. So in that case, what we will be doing, we need to start a loop that will go from 1 to 10. It means initialization. In initialization part, we need to write int I is equals to 1. In condition part, we need to write till I is less than or equals to 10. And in iteration part, we need to write I plus plus. And here we just want to write num into I. And whatever value is coming, we need to print like this. Children, this is how we can print the table of any number. One thing which is here num and capital. Suppose it is 10. Now you see that the table of 10 has got printed on the screen. Here what happens, children, suppose you have entered the number 5 and here the loop will start from 1 to 10. So initially this initialization part will execute and this condition is checked. First time this iteration part will not happen and I will remain 1. And then control enters the body because it is true. So 5 into 1, 5. 5 got printed on the screen. And after that control reaches here, increments the value of I, which is 2 now. So next time 5 into 2, which is 10, will get printed on the screen. And next time 15 will get printed on the screen. And next time 20 will get printed on the screen. Then 25. Then 30. 35. 40. 45. And finally I became 10. And here we have got printed 50. And after this, the value of I becomes 11. This condition becomes false and this loop terminates. So this is how we can generate the table of any number. And suppose here we want to find out the product of all the numbers from 1 to 10. So in that case, suppose here we have taken a long variable p. I am taking this long data type so that we can store the product of even large numbers up to some extent, because the range of integer is only 32-bit and here the size is 32-bit and here long can store 64-bit value. That's why I have taken long. So in order to multiply, you have to write p is equals to p into I, and here the product is p. So just execute this. So suppose here we don't need to input this string. We don't need this statement, children, here simply because it is not needed, and this scanner is also not needed. And the product is 3628800. This is what the product has come. So this is how we can use looping concepts in our programs. Children, one more example I would like to show you. Suppose we need to input 10 numbers and we want to just calculate the sum of these. So in that case, what we will be needing? In that case, we need to just declare a scanner class object. And then since we have to input 10 numbers, so it simply means we need to have a loop, and after this we need to just enter number here, and that is num, and we have entered this num, and after that we need to just write sum is equals to sum plus num, and here the sum is num. The sum is num. So inside this loop body we need to just input the number and we need to calculate the sum there only. So children, just input 10 natural numbers. Suppose we have entered 1, we have entered 21, 23, 24, 45, 56, 34, 23, 12, and you can see that the sum is 76. No, it is not correct. Here I am just printing the sum, not num, not sum, so that's why it is. Okay, so let us see that, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it is 10. The sum is 55. Yes, it's working. Children, this is how we can calculate the sum of 10 natural numbers. So I hope you have got this concept of loop, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.